this is Jeanette at the Not So Perfect Mom, and today I'm going to do my March reading wrap up. I know it's late. Spring is so busy for homeschoolers, especially when one of them is graduating. My oldest is a senior, and he is finishing up all of his work and all of the fun stuff that falls at the end of the year so he can graduate. So, onward. I read 6 books in March. One of them was a children's book that related to homeschool, and it was pretty long, so I included it in my page count, but I won't go over it today. I'm pretty sure you guys know all about the solar system. So the first book I finished in March was a nonfiction, The Devil in the White City by Eric Larson, and this is about the World's Fair in Chicago, and there is a understory that goes along with it because H.H. Holmes, the murderer, was also at the World's Fair, so that's kind of in there intermingled a little bit. I think they play up on it too much because he's not very much in it. It's 99% about the actual fair, the construction of it, the themes of it, the architecture of it, the political maneuverings that went on to get the World's Fair in Chicago, and it was interesting as far as some of the things that happened and how much went into this World's Fair, but at the same time it was very densely packed and it was kind of hard to get through all of the just facts. It's about 399 pages, and then like the last 20 or 30 pages of the book, like literally all of these are references. Seriously, there is a lot of facts in that book. Then the next one I listened to on audio was And the Mist Ran Away with the Rake, and it's by Elizabeth Boyle, and it is the second book in the Rhymes with Love series, and I absolutely adored that. That was so cute. I read the first book in the series last summer, I believe, and so I wasn't 100% sure I remembered the characters. It didn't really matter because, I mean, this was a whole new story, and you know, it was so cute. The main character, Daphne, and the main male character, which is Lord Henry, they are just the cutest couple. Anyway, his brother decides that it's time for him to get married, so he puts an advertisement in a local newspaper, and without his permission and without his knowledge, and springs it on. And when all these letters start arriving, and of course Lord Henry is not wanting to get married, and he's not interested, and says he's gonna throw them all away and go about his business. And of course he reads them, and he reads her letter, and he decides to write her back, and they're writing under false names, or they would have noticed that they are sworn family enemies. That right there brought on so much chaos and so much fun. It was absolutely recommend it. So good. Then the next one I picked up was Reading Lolita in Tehran, and it's by Azar Nafisi. And I actually did not finish this one. I stopped at about page 243, mainly because it was kind of overwhelming. It was actually kind of depressing, and it was stressing me out, so I put it down. This is the story of a nonfiction account of the main character, I'm going to say it's Azar, but I don't know for sure. She is a university teacher in Tehran, and during the time when there was a lot of political upheaval and a lot of war, and there was a lot of bombings, and there was a lot of just police crackdowns on morality and the Islamic faith, and there was a lot of things that were going on. They were in war. She ends up leaving the university, and she handpicks a group of women that she wants to have into a girl book club where they read American literature, which has essentially been banned. It's no longer really available. So one of the books is, of course, Lolita. It's not the only book that they kind of discuss, but the books aren't really the focus. They are referred to in passing, and there is some talk about, you know, how the book relates or how they view the book or how they relate to the characters. But it's really, really about the political climate and the struggles of the day-to-day in Tehran at that point in time. And it's kind of overwhelming, you know, it's very frustrating, and you got to stop and take breaks because you just, you know, I just needed to stop and take breaks. And apparently it was a library book, so I had to send it back to the library, and I may eventually pick it back up and finish it, but not right now. Then the next book I picked up was The Dark by Andrew Niederman. And I actually think I heard about this one from the Paperback Junkies channel, and if you haven't checked him out, you should. Him and his wife Zoe do these really long videos, and it's kind of nice to just put them on and listen while you're doing other stuff. You know, it's like 40-minute videos, but he has some old good paperbacks that they recommend. So this one is a psychological thriller / horror, and it's about this. It starts with the psychiatrist whose wife shoots him and kills him, and she admits it. She freely admits it. She turns herself in. She says, "I did it. It wasn't him. He was somebody else." And then the husband's psychiatrist friend takes over one of his patients, and this patient has the ability to make other people act on their basest desires, and it kind of goes from there. It's very good, and you draw it out, and you gotta watch it. I mean, you watch it. See, it reads like a movie. You can almost see it as a movie. It looks like something that would be great. And the next book that I read was Devil's Bride by Stephanie Lawrence, and this is the first book in the Sinister series, and it's a very long series. And if you watched my historical romance shelf tour, I'll link it in the cards above, you will have seen quite a few books in this series by Stephanie Lawrence, which is kind of sad because I did not 100% enjoy this book. It had a lot of problems with it, and I'm not sure if I want to continue or not, so I need your help. If you guys have read this series outside of this book and it gets better, and I'll explain why I disliked it in just a second, let me know. I want to know what your thoughts are. Did you enjoy this series? Excuse me. Sorry. I want to know. Okay, so this one, the main character does the unthinkable. He's like insta-love, although the word love is probably never mentioned in the book. The main character is Devil, and the main female character is a governess, who's, I think it's Honor. They end up in a compromised position because she's walking home one night and she discovers a man shot, and she flags down a passerby who of course is Devil, and they try to save this man who ends up being Devil's cousin. And they end up spending this night in this cabin, and the people that she governesses for comes and finds her and finds the situation, and of course she's ruined because that's the plot of all the historical romances. I enjoy that, but I'm just saying. And Devil decides he's going to marry her. Right then and there, he tells them, "I'm going to marry her." And that is everything that happens for the next 300 pages. He says, "I'm going to marry you," and she says, "No, I don't want to get married. I want to travel. I want to go do things." And insert scenes that go like this: "Marry me. No. Make out. Marry me. No." They go make out. Okay. Normally I'm okay with that, but there was way too many of these scenes. Like the whole middle part of the book was that. And the arrogance and the just underhandedness that went along with it drove me batty. And then her flip-floppiness, where she's like, "No, I don't want to marry him too. I think I might," just drove me insane. Anyway, the next book that I read was One Chance, One Moment. It's book 1, the Mandy story. I'm reading off my sheet over here, by Judith Ann Conan. I won the second book, For the Love of Mandy, in a contest, and the author asked me if I had read the first book, and I said no, so she kindly sent me a Kindle copy of this book. I absolutely, totally, completely enjoyed this book. It was not what I thought it was going to be. Granted, I don't read synopses. I tried to avoid the back of books, and Kindle's particularly don't have a back of the book physically for me to look at, so most of the time I just don't read it. I will go into it completely blind. But the cover of these books are misleading. They're very contemporary and they look like they're erotica, but they're not. They're totally not erotica at all. So I don't like the covers, but I do like the story. So this is a story about Gary, who is a Jewish musician, and he's a famous billionaire, and his father left him when he was a kid, and he's trying to get back into his life, and he dies. It's not a spoiler. It's the first like 50 pages of the book, I promise. And Gary has a car accident, trying to deal with it, to cope with it. And he ends up, you know, severely hurt, and he's wallowing in his grief, and he doesn't want to get out of bed. And so his sister hires a nurse. Enter Mandy. Mandy is silly, funny, she's lighthearted, she's the comic relief, kind of, but she's the love interest. Then there is a secondary kind of plot going through it, and that is a bit of a murder mystery kind of thing going on with Gary's girlfriend, it starts with a D, I can't remember her name. But anyway, she does not want him to fall in love with this girl. She wants him to marry her. So there is a lot of underhandedness going on. And then there is a third storyline, and that is with his religious background. He's Jewish, and she is not. So insert hyper Jewish mother who wants her son to marry a Jewish woman and is very pushy about it. There is so much going on that it almost sounds confusing, but it actually really works, and I really enjoyed it. Now, it is a series, but book 1 pretty much wraps it up, so I'm kind of curious about what book 2 actually is about. So maybe I will pick that one up sooner or later. So that is all of the books that I read in March, and I thank you guys for sticking around. I know I am very lax about uploading, and hopefully when school is over I will have more time and my camera will cooperate with me a little bit better. So if you want to see more from me, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!